Hey Rockstar, Steve aka Void here. Welcome to another episode of Riff Starter, where I help you play your favorite riffs from day one by removing those annoying speed bumps and roadblocks that slow you down. If you like the strategies and the techniques on the show and you want to dive in deeper, then you check out my best-selling book, Practice Less, Play More. You can grab that at practicelessplaymore.com, and you'll see below there's another link called Play Like the Masters, and that is a special link that if you are wanting to sound like your favorite guitar players and you want to play like iconic players like Hendrix and Gilmour and Clapton and the list goes on, then definitely check out Play Like the Masters. I'm holding a really cool deal right now where I'm bundling a bunch of stuff and giving away lifetime access for a really, really affordable price. It's going to be a monthly subscription soon, so definitely check that out if you want to play like the Masters. So let's get into today's episode. I'm really excited about today because Crossroads is one of the most iconic riffs in all of rock history. Basically, this riff here, so originally written by Robert Johnson, like this was technically a cover, and this song here has a really great feel to it. I mean, as you heard in the intro, there's a really great feel, and it's actually pretty simple, but I find a lot of guitar players will get tripped up on a lot of different parts, and it's because what a lot of guitar players will do, and maybe you do the same thing, totally fine, I've done this before, but you start by trying to match your current skill level to the level of the record, okay? And when you do that, as I'll show you in a second, you start to run into some of these speed bumps or roadblocks, and it's because some of the things that are on the tab or in a tutorial video, those things you might not be able to do right away. You might not be able to do it exactly like what it shows on the tab or tutorial. And so what happens is you think that that's how it's supposed to go, and you have this sort of stop and go sort of stutter type of playing, whereas what we want right away from day one, we want steady playing. So in order to do that, in order to play from day one, instead of matching your current skill level to the level of the record, what we want to do is we want to match the level of the record to your current skill level, and that's how you play from day one. Now, for you, if you're a beginner, or if you're an intermediate player, or even if you're advanced, that's going to mean different things to you. That's going to mean maybe there's a technique or two, if you're more advanced, technique or two that you might have to tweak a little bit or play in a different spot. Or if you're more of a beginner or a novice, then that means that you're going to have to simplify quite a bit. And that muscle of simplifying is, in my opinion, the most important thing that you can have as a guitar player. Okay, when it comes to playing songs quickly, take it from someone who's toured all over the world. I mean, simplifying is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, you really want to just make sure that first you can have that steady pulse. All right, so hey James, how's it going, buddy? All right, and if you're watching live, pop a comment inside the chat there. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always great to hear from you. So let's go over to my screen, okay? And I keep making this mistake that I don't scroll up, so I'm gonna try to remember to scroll up so you guys can see the tab. Now, I have a bunch of windows open here. Let me get rid of this. And okay, sweet. So you can see here we have the main riff, okay? So we have this first part here, and I'm just gonna scroll a little bit here. Then we have, it goes to a D7, and then we have an E, and we have, you know, that cool lick that I was playing on the intro there. That's all happening before the vocals start. And so let's actually just start with this main riff over here, okay? Awesome. Hey LA, great to see you. All right, so we have this first part here, which is kind of like the quintessential riff, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just play a little bit. What a lot of guitar players will do is they'll play, so they have this first chord, okay, cool, so they play that riff, or they play that chord, then they have, this is a picked note, an open string, another, so this is picked, it's basically second fret, open, second fret, and we see let ring at the top, okay, so if you read that face value, then you're gonna have, everything's ringing, okay, and then you see that this one here, we pull off, and then we have a second fret hammer on, so it's like, Okay, and then we have 2 notes over here. It's going to be a double stop. It's going to be open 3rd string and 2nd string. And then we have this little quarter bend, okay, on the 3rd fret. This is basically how a lot of guitar players will play and practice guitar. Is this one note at a time type thing, okay? Whereas if you know Crossroads, you know that it's supposed to go bum 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 bum. It's got this dum da da dum da 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 da, this little rhythm here. And what I'm basically saying in this show is you want to be able to play musically first. So no matter what, you have to play musically. So I don't care how you play the riff. If you pick it all, if you do legato the whole time, I don't care how you get that job done, but it has to be bum 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 bum. Okay. And if it can't be, then you have to do something else that's in time. But it can't be like this. The band is already left, okay? The band, they're already on to the next section. So you can't do things at your own pace. What you have to do is you want to think with the mentality of music first. So music requires a steady pulse. And so you have to have a music first mentality. And this is what I talk about with playing from day one. Imagine that you have a show coming up and you just have to get something down, where even if you're just a rhythm guitar player supporting everything, you know, you have to get some kind of rhythm down. So the first step, if you're a novice, if you're just getting started with this, you basically just start with get that going steady at first, okay? And then maybe there's another instrument that's playing so that's playing on top of what you're doing, okay? That would be the very basic version here. And then even on the D, you could just get a simple power chord. Okay? And then maybe what you do is you have like that 3rd fret. Now, I know that it's not, I know that it doesn't have that whole thing yet, but what I'm trying to get you to think about and how I want you to frame every song that you start with is, how do I get to the music as soon as possible? And so what that means is, so I call it RNAN, basically remove notes as needed, okay? So remove notes as needed. Remove whatever you need to at first so that you could play from day one. And then you might be thinking, but Steve, what are you talking about now? But now I've got this basic version and it doesn't sound anything like Cream. Well, at first, what you want to do is you want to put the record on, play along with the record first, okay? Put the record on, play along with the record as the first step. You can do that probably in 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And you play along at any comfortable speed, 70%, 80%, 90% speed. Get comfortable with that first. And then what you're going to do, then you're going to start to upgrade from there. Okay, so again, this all depends on your skill level. Let's go a little bit more advanced. So let's just say you can play the notes, but every single time you're playing, when you're trying to play the fancy stuff, like what I mean by the fancy stuff is, if you really pay attention to what's going on here, you have this first part lets everything ring. Picked, and then we have a little bend there, but then the second bar is a little different because you have picked notes here, and these are up here, these little dots are called staccato. So the second bar actually sounds like this, as opposed to the first one, which sounds like this. Like it's smoother because it's all ringing out, and then the second one is a little bit more chopped up with a little vibrato on this note. That's way too much detail when you're first starting out. And then the third bar, check this out. The third bar now has harmony on it. So now you have this harmony here. You have these double stops. Okay, so it's like 2 and 2, open, the open 3rd string and 2nd string, and then 2 and 2 again. So it's not even anymore. Now it just keeps adding and adding and adding. Okay, and we didn't even get to the next chord yet. So if you're approaching the song from the perspective of where you're playing every little move, like, so I'll play slowly. If you have this first one that's ringing out, that's way too much information at first. So what it ends up doing is it overwhelms your brain, and you end up playing it like this. it's all broken up. That's not music. That is not music. And you can't play like that, because what that's actually doing is it's training your brain to play like that, basically, to play unmusically. And so what I want to do is I want to flip that, where you're always playing musically. Okay, so no matter what, you think, okay, what can I do to play this musically? And then again, like I said, RNAN, R-N-A-N, remove notes as needed. Okay, so at first, maybe the version that you play is, or you just do all legato, so you do like, and maybe you have that third fret in there, but maybe you don't do a bend. And that's the first version of Crossroads. And maybe for today, that's the version. And then tomorrow you have another version that maybe now you're going to pick more of it. Or maybe you add that bend in there. So it's not perfect yet, but you're starting to color in the picture. So first you create like a stencil, an outline, and then you color in the picture from there. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat. Awesome. Hey Dave, how's it going, buddy? So these are the things that I want you to keep in mind when you're playing, because too often there's this sort of need to try to play everything that's on the tab, and who knows this tab is created by someone, by a human being who basically they write down whatever they think they hear, and so there could be errors on there. You know, how many times have you been on Ultimate Guitar or any tab site and there's been errors, or on a YouTube tutorial where the guitar player, maybe that's how they play it, but that might not be how Eric Clapton plays it. But you don't want to be precious with this stuff. You want to make sure that you can play this musically no matter what. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then you know, I would stick to, like, even on that D7, there's a little bend, but maybe with your pinky it's a little bit tricky. But then the next bar they switch again. So it's all these different patterns. And yes, music has this built into it. Of course, this is a part of music. This is like part of what makes it sort of, when you jam, there's this, it's dynamic, there's variety there. But when you're learning something, it's really, really important to make estimations and to have sort of like an average of what the strumming pattern is, or the picking pattern, or maybe repeat the thing. If it changes all the time on the record, repeat it at first so you have a sort of blanket common denominator version. That's your foundation, and then you build from there. So like I said, instead of trying to match your current skill level to the level of the record, first start by matching the level of the record to your current skill level. That's how you play from day one. It's turning bends into slides, if that's easier for you. It's turning slides into hammer-ons, if that's easier for you. It's removing all of legato and just picking everything with a downstroke, if that's easier for you. It's all based on you and what you can do at that particular time. And then once you have that, then you keep upgrading from there. You keep climbing that mountain based on a musical version every single time. And the beauty of that is, if you make a mistake, like for example, or if you hit an obstacle where you can't play that version, you're trying to upgrade but you can't play it, you can go back to any version, any musical version that you played before that. So it's like a safety net. You're climbing the mountain, and then if you fall, you have a safety net because you started with a musical version. And again, that's training your mind and your ear and your muscles to play musically every single day. Okay, that's what a pro guitar player will be doing when they're playing. Everything is musical, no matter what. This stop and go stuff, it doesn't even exist. Okay, that's why I'm so this is why I broadcast this show, is to help you to reprogram your mind so that you don't have to play this stop and go type stuff anymore. Okay, timing isn't everything, it's the only thing. Okay, so let's leave it at that. And I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. If you want to check out Clapton and you want to get into his signature techniques and signature sounds and signature approach to guitar, definitely check out Play Like the Masters. Basically, in the next few days, so in early July, we're going to be profiling Eric Clapton, getting into all of his signature stuff. So check that out, and that is pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.